Hello, hello, change makers. We're back with another amazing interview where we are celebrating change makers all over the world, all over the country. And today seems to be North Carolina Day. So,
Yay!
yeah. This is my second North Carolina interview, and I am excited to welcome Shavonne Gibson to our group today. How are you today?
Thank you. Doing wonderful, Cheyenne. Doing
Awesome.
wonderful.
Awesome, awesome. Well, please tell everybody in the group a little about what you do and why you are so amazing.
Well, I am very much a change maker. I live to evolve and improve and refine my being, my frequency, and I'm here to share that with the world. My experiences. I feel like each of us has our own unique path and experience, and sharing with others is how we connect. And so that is exactly what I've been doing for the past 20 years is refining my frequency and sharing what I've learned with everyone else that's
Mm-hmm.
interested.
Wow. Well, give us a little idea. What kind of modalities do you work with?
Well, my first and foremost favorite modality is EMF balancing technique. And this is what um, catapulted me into the healing arena, was experiencing that particular modality. And I felt such a shift, such an amazing transformation just in a sample session of it, a little mini session, that it shifted my consciousness and my awareness to such a state that I walked around in this venue, the Body Mind Spirit Expo, and I walked around, and people were talking and they were smiling, but I really couldn't hear what they were saying. I just couldn't engage. I was actually felt and saw myself rise above my body, and I
Wow.
was watching myself walk
Mm.
around and interact with these people, and all I could say was, just give me a little bit of time. I'm processing. And I'd never had an experience like that before in my life.
Wow.
And it created shifts that were so profound, and um, that I couldn't ignore it. So once I came back down to earth a bit, I went back to that booth and I said, I'd like more of that, please. Can I get more of that? That was nice. That was a nice snack.
Wow.
And they said, you can experience that, and we're about to have a class, and you could come join the class and be able to do this for others. And I said, I signed myself up right then and there. I just knew that that is where I belonged,
Mm.
because that was the energy I'd been seeking for so long. And as I mentioned earlier, coming from corporate background, there was no good energy there. No,
No,
no.
definitely not. Well, I'm curious about the EMF balancing because when I hear EMF, it's usually in a very negative connotation. I mean, I wear this to help protect from, the cell phone towers and all that kind of EMF, but you're talking about something much more positive.
Yes, yes. And we do need to protect ourselves from harmful EMF that's out there. But EMFs it's your electromagnetic field.
Mhm.
It's nothing to be concerned about. We are an electromagnetic field.
Mhm.
Everything that we're exposed to has an electromagnetic imprint.
Mhm.
So while using devices and amulets, things to protect you from the harmful, there is also processes of balancing out your own electromagnetic field. And
Wow.
I do that through a technique called the EMF balancing technique. And this technique was created by Peggy Phoenix Dubrow and many decades ago. And it's been growing. The phases have been growing. It's one of those techniques where modalities where it builds, there are building blocks. So each phase builds upon the last phase. It's different in many ways from every other modality I've ever experienced. And the frequency is just so high, so incredibly high, that the changes are immediate. It depends, each individual has their own process, and your inner wisdom, directs that energy where it's needed most.
Mhm.
So my experience wouldn't necessarily be your experience, because we're individuals with unique history.
Absolutely.
And so the EMF balancing technique for me is it's just profoundly sweet. It is gentle. It is guiding, comforting, and allows for the movement, as in, like, when working with Tai Chi, doing any kind of Tai Chi, it's all about movements and moving energy
Mhm.
around. And EMF balancing is very much that. We're working within the energy field of the body. It comes around 2 foot all around us. It's like we're in a bubble. This is our energy field. Our feelings, beliefs, experiences are all stored within that energy field. And so as I go in, I am gently balancing the chakras, clearing out the stuck energy in that energy field, which allows for a higher frequency to come in and take its place.
Mm,
And
nice.
it's a detoxing. And I believe, wholeheartedly, detoxing is necessary. We all need it on so many levels. So there's physical detoxing, and then there's spiritual detoxing. And an EMF balancing is very much a spiritual detox, where it can remove decades of baggage, of stored negative energy within your
Mhm.
system, within your body universe,
Mm,
on
right.
all levels. And it's a beautiful, beautiful modality. And that's what got me, what initiated me into this field, was that very modality. And
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I'm curious. So, what kinds of things would people come to you for where, going through even one of these sessions, obviously just with a little bit of a session, you had a very heightened experience, and I know everybody's different, but what kinds of things do people come to you for where they can notice a big difference fairly quickly?
Hmm. Well, um, let's see. Things that happen, doesn't always happen very quickly.
Mhm.
Um, for instance, my experience was profound because I had a big gaping hole of
Ah,
just negative energies. Had a rough childhood and upbringing, and just experiences in life. And coming from a corporate accounting background, you can imagine some of those energies. And so for me, it was profound because I hadn't experienced love, unconditional love,
ah.
to that point. Now, for
Mm,
other people, that may not be the case. You know, Mine was profound and very emotional, because love is such a powerful uh, emotion,
mhm.
energy. And since I was pretty much void of it up until that point, it was massive. It was a
Mm,
massive feeling and experience for me. Not everybody has that massive
right.
experience. Some people experience things on a slower scale. Um, maybe they have a profound moment after once they get home, or maybe in a few weeks as their energy and system starts to adjust to this higher frequency. It may be as subtle as realizing that, oh, my pattern has changed. You know, it's not something you're consciously aware of. It's not a big emotional thing, but you just notice things like, my patterns have changed. I'm not responding to this situation like I did before. You know,
Yes.
it allows for that, the negative energy to move out so a higher frequency can move in. And how that plays out for each individual is unique to their circumstances.
Got it. Yeah.
So I would say it brings about a level of peace, love,
Mm.
and understanding
Mm.
that maybe people haven't experienced before. And for those who've never had energy medicine before, it, you know, there's a process of learning,
Mhm.
and then the awareness of understanding what's going on, and then it requires, you know, adjusting your patterns in order to accommodate what you're actually wanting to bring into your life.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Wow. So I'm just thinking all the things I'm hearing, how many people are looking for peace right now? An awful lot, I do believe, from what I've been seeing. And
Mhm.
then, it sounds like you can help from an emotional standpoint, a self love standpoint, worthiness, all those things that seem to be tripping so many people up. So
Yeah.
I love it. And yes, I do understand the individualized experience of those things. And it's always amazing to see what you do experience and how you integrate it into your life. So all of that sounds beautiful. And you were telling me earlier, and I'd love for you to share just a bit here. I mean, this has not been where you've been all your life. So, you said you had a job that was actually making you sick. Tell us more about that and how did you decide to move on?
I was in a corporate office as a branch accountant and HR manager for a mortgage brokerage, and was there for a year, one year. That's all I could handle. Um, it was high stress, very high stress. It was typically 60 to 80 hours a week. A
Mm,
lot of times I didn't sleep. There was, a lot of caffeine involved, and which wreaks havoc on your nervous system. It puts a big strain on your heart. So I was at a place where, the branch manager was embezzling money and
ooh,
into his marketing company.
oh,
And fortunately, I had contact with the corporate office and reported him about what was going on. Um, However, he chose to make me the scapegoat. So he didn't pay his employees, and I was the one handling the finances. So he placed the blame on me and
ooh,
then fired me on top of that
oh my.
to make his point, to really, concrete that no, I'm not the problem. She's the problem. And so we're just going to dismiss her. And so it was very hard on me. I had been looking for 2 months, looking for other work already, but he beat me to the punch, before I could get out of there. And so I had a nervous breakdown. I honestly did. I mean, that was a huge, financially, that was a huge impact to
Mhm,
just all of a sudden be done.
right.
Um, and then emotionally, I mean, I was just put through the ringer
Mhm,
emotionally. Um, and I just, that environment was just, it felt predatory to me, felt like parasitic to me. And I don't thrive in in, environments like that. So I did have a big breakdown and had to pull myself back together. I had a daughter and people depending on me, and it took a lot. It took months of me soul searching and looking for something else. As I might have mentioned to you, I had a come to Jesus meeting. I was like, look, this is not what I signed up for. I didn't come here to be, a pincushion or anybody's doormat. I have a lot to offer. And so I pulled myself out of that situation, and I said, well, self, what are we going to do different? This didn't work. Let's try something else. And so I've been good at doing that, of learning that if I'm hitting a wall, then it's time for me to turn around, do something the opposite of what I would normally do. And I always get great results with that. It's just the mind getting stuck. It's like, I need to do things this way when it's really not. Don't have to do things that way. It's just what we know based on belief systems that have been ingrained into us. So
That's it. I call it flat forehead syndrome. You keep running into the same brick wall.
yes, that's a good term for it. Yeah, or the broken nose syndrome. Or it's like,
Yep.
why am I still doing this? Crazy.
Wow. Wow. And so was it somewhere during that time of, kind of the soul searching and the come to Jesus moment, was that when you found your way to the expo that kind of shifted everything?
I did. It was maybe just 2 months, 2 months between the time I left to the time that I found the expo. And it's been going on all these years in my own town, and I didn't know about it. It's just, I was like this. Just didn't know that it existed. And
Right.
so I went to this expo with my stepdaughter, who was going through some things as well. And we just decided to go and check it out. And walking in and just feeling that the positive energy and the love that was in that room, I remember just taking a deep breath and exhaling and just looking around and going, wow. Just walking in the door, I felt the shift happen. I knew I was in the right place, that God had brought me to that place. I kept saying, show me something different. Show me something different. I've already seen all this craziness over here, and I'm swiping left, swiping left on it. And so I walked around, the two of us walked around, and first place I stumbled upon very, very, intuitively was ladies performing these little mini sessions. And I saw them, there were people sitting in the chairs, and they were moving around them, and they were, like smoothing out their aura. It was like they were pulling things from the individual. And I was like, what is happening? What's going on here? And so I signed up. We both signed up, sat down in the chair. Each of us had a different person, of course. And I'm sitting there with my eyes closed, and I'm hearing everything going on in the expo, and wondering what is happening. What is she saying? What is she talking about? I don't know. But nothing. I didn't feel anything. I didn't notice anything until she was done. And I stood up. And as I stood up, I just kept floating. I kept floating, and I was looking at myself from above. I could see myself down here, and I was like, what is happening?
Amazing.
I am not on any drugs. Nobody gave me anything. I don't understand how this is happening. And that was it. That was it
Mhm.
for me. It took a while for me to come down and be able to communicate with people within the expo they could see me. They saw me. They saw my spirit. They saw that maybe I was illuminated. Maybe there was many people coming to me and talking to me, and I was like, whoa, whoa, this is
Wow.
really bizarre. I was like, okay, okay. I couldn't really make out what people were saying. I was just in a different space.
Mm.
And it took about 45 minutes for me to kind of come back down to earth. And then I went back to the table and I said, I'd like more of that, please. Can I have that again? And they said, well, yes, you can. Or you can sign up for a class and learn how to do this and share it with others. I said, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And that was the beginning, and that was in 2004.
Mm.
And so here it is 20 years later, and the growth has been phenomenal. I could just say that it's like, cracking open, I don't know. Did I find the Holy Grail? It's like just an entire new world opened up for me. And the more I learned, the more spongy I became, and just absorbing everything that I could and learn about this new world of energy and energy
Mhm.
medicine. And what does that mean? We're
Right.
we're healing through positive energy, through raising your vibration, your frequency. And that's
Yeah.
what EMF balancing does. It raises your frequency. And
Mm. Mm,
so
mm.
yeah, it was
Woo!
phenomenal. And it's been a great ride.
I love it. I love it, and I'm so glad to know there's somebody in the general Raleigh area doing things like this. I know there's more than one. There's actually quite a few, but, I lived in Raleigh for 30 years, and man, there was a lot of dark energy there. So
There
thank you
was.
for shifting it.
there's there's a lot of us here shifting it. It's come a long way, baby.
I
Truly
am
has.
so glad for that. Well, tell everybody a little bit about your future vision. I know you have one, and I'll be excited to see who you bring to the table because I can't imagine that what you're going to share is all about just you doing the work.
No, no, it is not just about me doing the work. My vision is called Vision Studio, and it is a vision I've had for 20 years that my guides gave to me during a meditation. And I was like, oh, this is so exciting. It was a healing arts vision of combining what the healing arts that I know of and experience with physical art, with creating. Above all, I'm a creator. I
Nice.
am I am 100% a creator, visionary. I have more ideas than a person could possibly execute in
Mhm.
the world, but I'm doing it a little bit at a time. And so the Vision Studio is that vision of elevating um, our frequency and our consciousness through expression of the soul. And it took 20 years to get the space. I already had the space, but it was occupied by my former partner. And it just last year, his things, all of his tools and things were finally moved out. And so I began the process of converting the building into an art studio. And the art studio is a community project where They'll be introducing the healing arts through classes, through sessions that involves an art component following the session. And this is a common practice with a lot of people. There's art involved afterward where you capture that frequency, that feeling in the moment.
Mhm.
And this venture will be, unique in its own way.
Mhm.
I have partners, and in their own practice. There's an organization I just became involved in. It's called Electric Blue Communications and Love Evolve with Marcy Dean. And she has a musical component that is going to be part of the healing arts process. And so we are collaborating. I've always been a person to collaborate. I love teamwork. I love having goddess circles. I think every woman is a goddess and she deserves to be treated as such. We are the consummate creators, uh, gods in this world. We are creating life. We are nurturing life. We are creator in every
Mhm.
sense of the being. And women need support, especially in these hard times. So having a collective of women who are here for the sole purpose of loving, teaching, and evolving is what I'm all about. And have my own community. Each of us are creating our version of what we can do together. So the studio, I've long wanted to make clothes and costumes. And so I have a friend who's also eh, um, doing that, wanting to do that. So she and I are creating a collaboration. And then another friend, artist of mine, we have a collaboration. So it's coming out of the corporate world, for the longest time felt like things needed to be a certain way. We need to organize this way. It needs to look that way. Yada yada yada. Everything needs to be perfect before we launch. All of these things just had to be in place. And I've learned over the years, the decades, that doesn't, that works for corporate America. But for the rest of us, we're not on that type of schedule. I don't want to be on that type of schedule where it just has to have everything lined up. I'm
Agreed.
very, yeah, being structural, I'm a free spirit, but I'm also very organized. And that's part of what I do professionally as well, is organize people, organize their
Nice.
homes.
Okay.
And and that's part of the creative process. So I'm leaning into my creative processes and focusing on that more so than where I've been in past decades of, running someone else's business for them. Like,
Yes.
no, no, just yes. There's much to be done here collectively,
There
and
it is.
it's just a process of figuring that out.
It is, and you've got a beautiful vision. I'm thinking of somebody I might try to connect you with, who is also doing some of that healing through art type stuff. She'd probably be very interested in what you're building. But tell us how people can reach you. Definitely out time. I need to be wrapping up today, and this has been so much fun to hear. So tell people how they can reach you.
Oh, well, you can find me on the harmoniouspath.com as my website. I am on Facebook. I am on LinkedIn, Shavonne Gibson. Um, heal.me. I'm a practitioner, and you can find me there. Um, I think just drop me a chat, send me a message. um, um, a phone call's great. I love talking, live talking as opposed to, mailing and texting and all of that. I prefer the direct energy exchange, but anybody can reach me through my websites, social media
Awesome.
pages. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I hope people will do that, and once we have your links put up, I will send those to you, and please feel free to go in and put in the comments under your video, all those things that you just mentioned. So, do you have any wise words of wisdom to share with everybody as we close out today?
Wise words. Follow your heart.
Yes.
Just follow
Yeah.
your heart and know that there is no predestined path. Your path is what you make it. Understanding your nature and honoring your nature is the first step.
Mhm.
And that's my logo with the not logo, but my tagline with the harmonious path is understanding your true nature is the first step. So
Awesome. Awesome.
that's it. You don't have to live up to anybody else's expectations. You just have to create your own life that makes you happy.
There it is. I
Mhm.
love it. Well, thank you so much for being with me here today, Shavonne. And thank you to all our change makers who's keeping up with some of these videos and looking at the people that we're bringing to the table, because I know there's people in this group that should be collaborating and working together as well. There's so much we can do virtually as well as in a localized community. And that's what I'm here to encourage is let's come together. Let's create the world that we know in our hearts is possible. So that's it for us today. And we'll see you in the next interview. Have an awesome day, everybody.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Have a
Thank
wonderful day.
you.
Namaste.